the peaceful community of Maple Ridge had always been quiet until strangers began showing up at the house of none. Other than Karen Thompson, the self-proclaimed enforcer of HOA rules. She was the one who wrote angry notes about trash cans being left out too long, who called the HOA hotline if anyone's lawn grew half an inch too high. So when people started arriving at her house every weekend, carrying suitcases, laughing late at night and parking on the street, everyone was confused. Sarah, who lived 2 houses down, was the first to notice. "That's weird," she whispered to her husband. "Karen always complains when anyone has visitors past 9 p.m., but that Friday night, there were lights, music, and laughter coming from Karen's backyard." The next morning, Sarah saw 3 different people carrying luggage into their car. None of them were Karen's family. At first, Sarah assumed maybe Karen was hosting relatives, but the pattern repeated. Every weekend brought new faces, young couples, groups of friends, even families with kids. It was starting to look like a hotel operation. "There's no way she's allowed to do that," said Tom, another neighbor who'd also noticed. One Saturday morning, a group of college students knocked on Sarah's door, asking, "Is this the Airbnb?" That confirmed it. Sarah's jaw dropped. "Airbnb?" she repeated. They apologized, saying they must have gone to the wrong house. Karen's house was next door. Sarah couldn't believe it. The same Karen who once fined her for a decorative garden flag was secretly running a business from her property, an illegal one at that. She and Tom decided to do some digging. Tom opened Airbnb on his phone and searched their neighborhood. Within minutes, there it was. Cozy suburban stay near downtown. The photos were unmistakable. Karen's living room, her backyard fence, her distinctive red front door. The host's name was Catherine, but the profile photo showed Karen's unmistakable decor. Sarah laughed in disbelief. "She's breaking every rule she ever enforced," Tom smirked. "Let's see how the queen of HOA likes being on the other side of it." That night, they began gathering proof. Photos, videos, screenshots, everything. They knew she'd deny it if confronted without evidence. But one wrong step could expose their investigation too soon, and Karen was sharp. Little did they know, exposing her would spiral into a neighborhood-wide showdown that would rock Maple Ridge's perfect image forever. Sarah and Tom became quiet detectives. They watched from behind their curtains, jotting down details each time new guests arrived. It was clear Karen had a full weekend business running. Check in on Fridays, check out on Sundays, just like a hotel. Sarah took screenshots of the Airbnb listing before Karen could delete it. Dozens of 5-star reviews were visible. "Great host. Super strict about rules. Perfect stay in a quiet neighborhood." And Karen was helpful. With parking passes, that last one made Sarah snort. "She's not even hiding her name." Tom, meanwhile, checked the HOA bylaws. "Short-term rentals are explicitly banned," he read. "She's violating HOA code, zoning laws, and probably tax laws too." Sarah replied, "The same woman who fined me for leaving my bin out for 10 extra minutes." They decided to tell the HOA president, Mark, a calm, fair man who always tried to handle matters quietly. When they showed him the evidence, his face drained of color. "Karen," he said, "she's on the compliance board. This is a disaster." Mark called an emergency meeting of the HOA board. While Karen strutted around giving people citations for mailbox paint, Mark and the board reviewed the evidence. Screenshots, timestamps, guest reviews, it was undeniable. "We'll schedule a surprise inspection," Mark decided. "If she's clean, fine. But if she's not, she's finished." The following Friday, Mark showed up at Karen's home with 2 board members, pretending it was a routine neighborhood inspection. Karen welcomed them, trying to look innocent. But they noticed everything. The guest handbook on the counter, labeled "Welcome to your stay," the extra bedding stacked in the hallway, even a laminated Wi-Fi password card. "Expecting visitors?" Mark asked casually. "Oh, just family," Karen lied quickly, but everyone could tell she was nervous. That night, Mark emailed Sarah and Tom, "You were right. It's definitely an illegal rental. We're going to handle this formally." Sarah smiled. Finally, justice. But Karen wasn't about to take it quietly. When she realized someone had exposed her, she launched a campaign of lies and intimidation that would turn neighbors into enemies and Maple Ridge into a battleground. Karen's response was pure chaos. Instead of admitting guilt, she went on the offensive. She accused Sarah and Tom of spying on her property and violating privacy laws. She even filed bogus HOA complaints against them. Lawn too long, noise after hours, and unauthorized driveway repaint. "She's trying to bury us in paperwork," Sarah groaned. But Tom wasn't backing down. "We have facts. Let her dig her own hole." Karen's lies spread fast. She told the neighborhood group chat that Sarah was jealous and Tom was creeping on people's houses. For a few days, people were confused, but then one of Karen's guests accidentally parked in front of Mark's driveway. When Mark confronted him, the man casually said, "Oh, sorry. We're just here for the Airbnb." That was the smoking gun. Mark snapped a photo of the man's booking confirmation, Karen's house, listed under Catherine. At the next HOA meeting, the tension was electric. Karen strutted in, pretending everything was normal. But Mark stood, holding a folder thick with evidence. "Karen, we have reason to believe you've been operating an illegal rental," he said firmly. Karen laughed nervously. "That's ridiculous. Those are family friends." Sarah raised her phone. "Then why did your family friends leave online reviews on Airbnb?" she said, showing the screen. Gasps filled the room. Karen's face turned crimson. "This is harassment!" she yelled. But it was too late. The truth was out. Neighbors murmured angrily, realizing how she'd manipulated them for months. After the meeting, Karen stormed home and deleted her Airbnb listing, but copies of the reviews, photos, and listing name were already saved by Mark and the board. She tried claiming she'd been testing the market for a friend, but no one bought it. By now, Karen's control over the HOA was slipping. Her allies on the board turned against her, and new complaints flooded in from neighbors she'd bullied. The empire she'd built on intimidation was collapsing fast. Within a week, the HOA issued Karen an official violation. Notice, along with a $5,000 fine for unauthorized commercial use of her property. The city's zoning department followed with their own citation. Karen, once feared and respected, was suddenly the neighborhood's biggest scandal. But instead of taking responsibility, she spiraled. She posted angry rants online claiming she was framed, that Sarah and Tom were stalkers, and that the HOA was corrupt. Her posts were flooded with comments, and most weren't on her side. People shared proof, screenshots, even Airbnb reviews confirming her guilt. Mark made it official. Effective immediately. Karen Thompson is removed from her HOA duties. Pending further investigation, she tore up the letter and shouted, "You'll all regret this," before slamming her door. For the first time in years, Maple Ridge was peaceful again. No random guests, no Karen pacing the streets with her clipboard. Her once busy driveway sat empty. Sarah looked out her window one evening and said, "Strange, isn't it?" "The street's finally quiet," Tom chuckled. "Guess we shut down Maple Ridge's secret hotel." Weeks later, a moving truck appeared outside Karen's house. Word spread that she was selling her home, too embarrassed to stay. As the truck drove away, Sarah felt relief and a little pity. If she'd just treated people fairly, none of this would have happened, she said softly. Karen's downfall became a cautionary tale for every HOA member who thought the rules didn't apply to them. The neighborhood learned something valuable that day. Even the loudest rule enforcer can't hide forever when she's the one breaking them.